All right, let's dive into the world of cannabis concentrates. We're going to build the ultimate field guide to all those different textures you see. I mean, if you've ever stood there wondering, what's the real difference between shatter and butter, or sauce versus rosin? Well, you've come to the right place. Let's get into it. So you walk into a dispensary, you look at the menu, and boom, shatter, wax, butter, rosin. The list just goes on, right? And they all look so different, they feel different. Honestly, it can be kind of overwhelming. But that's what we're here for. Today, we're going to decode what all those textures actually mean. Okay, so what even is a cannabis concentrate? At its most basic, it's exactly what it sounds like, a super concentrated form of all the good stuff from the plant. You know, the cannabinoids and terpenes. But here's the most important part. That final texture, it's not just random. No way. It's actually a clue, a hint about its flavor profile, how potent it's going to be, and even the best way to use it.
So here's the game plan. We'll start with a quick welcome to the world of concentrates. Then we'll jump right into our texture field guide. After that, we'll get into the cool science behind why they're all so different. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by helping you figure out how to find your own personal favorite.
All right, let's get started. First up, a quick welcome to the world of concentrates. This is really an experience that goes way beyond your traditional flower. And now for what you've all been waiting for, the main event. Let's get into our visual tour of all the most common concentrate textures you're going to run into.
Okay, so here they are, the 8 major players in the game. We're going to cover everything from that glassy, stable shatter all the way to the super pure crystalline structure of diamonds. Let's break them down, one by one.
Let's kick things off with the hard, brittle textures. First, you've got shatter, and it's named perfectly. It looks like a sheet of amber glass, and yep, it literally shatters. Then on the other side of the brittle spectrum, you have crumble. Think of a dry honeycomb that just, well, crumbles apart. It's kind of like feta cheese, if you need a visual.
All right, moving on to the soft and creamy side of things. Wax is probably one of the most popular ones you'll see. It's soft, it's easy to work with. Think thick honey or maybe even frosting. But then you've got butter, which takes that softness to a whole new level. It's been whipped up into this amazing fluffy texture that seriously looks and feels like cake batter or, butter. Okay, now we're getting to my favorite part, these super flavorful, terpene-rich textures. These are the heavyweights when it comes to taste and smell. Live resin, for instance, often looks kind of wet and sticky, and wow, the aroma is just incredible. And then you have sauce, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's this syrupy liquid just full of these tiny little crystals. It's literally the cannabinoids crystallizing and separating from the terpene-rich liquid sauce. So cool.
And last but not least, we've got a couple of really unique forms. First, rosin. The big takeaway for rosin is that it's solventless. It's made using only heat and pressure, that's it. And because of that, its texture can be all over the place, from crumbly to sticky. And then you have diamonds. These are literally solid, crystalline chunks of almost pure cannabinoids. You'll often find them just swimming in that terpene sauce we were talking about.
Okay, so we've seen what they are, but how about why? Why are there so many differences? Let's peel back the curtain and get into the science of how one single plant can end up creating all these different textures and sensations. It really all comes down to 4 key ingredients in the recipe, you could say. 4 factors that producers can tweak and manipulate to get these specific textures. We're talking about the extraction method they choose, what they do right after extraction, the quality of the plant they start with, and finally, the purging process.
So first up, you've got the extraction method itself. Think of this as the first big fork in the road. Are they going to use solvents like butane, which is how you get things like shatter and wax? Or are they going to go solventless with just heat and pressure, which is how you get rosin? That one initial choice really sets the stage for everything that comes next.
Okay, next up is what happens after that initial extraction. And this right here is where a lot of the texture magic happens. It's pretty simple, really. If you mess with the extract, whip it, stir it, you're basically introducing air. And that's how you get those soft, creamy textures like butter. But if you just leave it alone, let it rest and settle, that's when it can form into a stable, glassy sheet of shatter.
And the last 2 factors are absolutely crucial. First, the starting material itself. This is huge. For example, to get that incredibly flavorful, saucy live resin, producers use fresh flower that's been flash frozen right after harvest. Why? Because freezing locks in all those delicate terpenes that give it that amazing taste. And then there's the purging process. This is where they remove any leftover solvents. It's like this delicate dance with temperature and time, and getting it right is what determines if the final product ends up brittle like shatter or dry and airy like crumble.
All right, so we've covered the science. Now let's bring it back to you. How do you take all this knowledge and navigate your own journey? How how do you match a texture to what you actually want?
You know, it really just boils down to what you're looking for in the experience. Are you all about chasing flavor? Then you're going to want to look at live resin or sauce because they're packed with terpenes. Or maybe you're looking for the highest potency. In that case, diamonds and shatter are going to be your go-to. And if you're just starting out or you want something that's super easy to handle, the soft texture of wax or the easy-to-scoop crumble are fantastic places to start.
And that's really the bottom line, isn't it? This whole variety of textures, it isn't just for looks or novelty. It's not just a gimmick. Each and every texture, from the brittle ones to the creamy ones to the saucy ones, offers a completely different sensory journey. It's a totally unique way to experience cannabis. It's all about giving you choice.
So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. You now have the tools. You can look at any concentrate and start to understand its story. You can read the texture like it's a map that gives you clues about its flavor, its potency, and how it was made. So the only real question left is, now that you can read the map, what are you going to discover?